אני חושב שהדבר היחיד שפה ייתן לנו, לכולנו, ביטחון באזור הזה, זה לא החומות האלה שאנחנו רואים, אלא זה פשוט יחסי שכנות טובים. זה יהיה הערובה היחידה לביטחון בינינו. ואני חושב שהחומות הן איזשהו עניין טכני שאני מקווה שהוא יהיה איזשהו משהו בדרך באמת לשכנות הטובה שתוריד את החומות. אבל מבחינתי חומה זה המקום שבו אתה לא הגעת לצערי לשכנות טובה, והמניע העיקרי שלו זה פחד.
From ancient history to modern day, the boundaries and borders of Israel have stirred great passion and debate. Often the Western world seeks to oversimplify this complex issue, and as a result, they miss the big picture. Here are 3 stories that explore Israel's borders and boundaries.
About the middle of the Dead Sea to northern Jordan Valley, no marked border. Israel, Syria. Our line is known as the Purple Line. Between the 2 purple lines, you have the no man's land. Purple line, no border. Lebanon, same rule. Blue line. They do not recognize the right of Israel to exist. So we have an official border, which is not recognized as an official border, but as an ad hoc agreement, and this is why it is called the blue line. Whenever you're getting 2 colors, it means that you do not have a border. You have a map. I believe that I made your life a little too complicated now. Borders is really a major question because I believe that we're one of the countries on earth that, officially speaking or formally speaking, have almost no borders. Until 1917, there were no borders in the Middle East. You could move from Damascus to Jerusalem, to Cairo, to Riyadh, and to Mecca and Medina with no need to present your passport anywhere. We were promised this land, Genesis 12. This is a divine promise. When the British conquered the Middle East back in World War I, they established a mandatory regime over what they called Palestine, a term not used since Roman times. It was a huge piece of land. They decided to take away or to tear off 74%. So the Jews that had in their hands some form of a promise to have a national home within Palestine had to be satisfied with 26% of Palestine, meaning to the west. In 1967, we were attacked by Jordan. Israel conveyed to King Hussein a series of ultimatums. We are going to retreat if you stop shelling Jerusalem and other settlements all over Israel. He insisted on continuing, and eventually Israel occupied or liberated the West Bank of the Hashemite Kingdom, or as we prefer to call it in its Jewish old name, Judea and Samaria. Some of our leaders signed a failing agreement with the Palestinians known as the Oslo Accords, under which Judea and Samaria were divided. This is the division.
This is Israel, a story told through maps. Ancient history reveals a land promised to the Hebrews in 1200 BC. After that, things get fuzzy. Empires rise and fall, and as one foreign power conquers another, Israel's borders and boundaries blur. By 1920, the land is controlled by the British, and it is called Palestine, based on a name given by the Roman Empire in the 2nd century. The British have declared it the Jewish homeland. And then, in 1947, the UN votes in favor of a plan for Jews and Arabs to divide the land. The Jewish side accepted the plan. The Arabs launched a war. Now, this is Israel, according to the map. Get ready, because it changes. Israel won her war of independence. Then, in 1949, armistice agreements paused the conflict and drew a line that marks today's West Bank. But there were more battles, like the Six-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. Negotiations and withdrawals have failed to bring lasting peace in Israel. And today, the issue is more complex. Because for the last century, opposing peoples have made their homes in a contested strip of land. Within Israel's state lines, the boundaries are still blurry. But one thing is clear: the pathway to peace is not on a map.
We have opened our gates to all people who are seeking knowledge. We have about 12 to 13,000 full-fledged university students. We have everyone: Palestinian-Israeli student population, ultra-Orthodox Jews, we have secular Jews, we have Druze students, Bedouin students, you name it, we have it. When we teach the Israeli side, we teach the Arab side, and we tell our students, look, we don't care which side you'll take. As long as academically you are sound, you're safe. But if it is out of ignorance, which unfortunately is the situation in many places, this is a problem. The issue here is not sentimental or emotional, the issue here is knowledge. In class, you are allowed to discuss everything. I'm teaching on the most contemporary and sensitive issues. My students know that I'm coming from a conservative environment. Some of them are not that conservative, which is okay with me, but they would not know how to handle me. You're going to be graded by the methodology, not by your opinions. And step by step, they're getting used to it. And indeed, many times I got some ideas which I could not live with. But as long as it was academically sound, well, I had to give them their A, no question. Our social mission within the academic world in Israel is to absorb into the university students who are less well-to-do, and we're trying to give them whatever we can so that eventually they would graduate from a university. In that, we are new. In Israel, we are appealing to a certain new population altogether. If you're not a graduate of a college, you might encounter some difficulties in getting a good job. And this is why we insist on taking these new populations into the university and giving them the expertise that they need in order to get a better job and a better future. Academia is all about questioning everything. So question me, ask me, challenge me. Our gates are open to everyone. However, the Palestinian Authority has barred all Arab students from coming to our university. So we have no Palestinian students from Judea and Samaria. However, we do have Israeli citizens who are Arab. We have an absolute ban on political activity in campus. No politics. We are beyond the green line. However, if you want to be active politically outside of campus, of course, we do not intervene. You have the right to do it. You even have the right to say that this is a student body that's doing it, but not on campus. In Israel, we have a very vocal leftist movement opposing the idea of a university in the occupied territories. And they're doing every effort possible to boycott Ariel. I see no difference whatsoever between student A, B, or C being Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. Let's give everyone in here the same economic opportunity and take it from there. The Palestinians would insist on calling this area the State of Palestine. Most Israelis believe that such a country would never exist because the Palestinians are committed to the destruction of Israel. The moment that we will see that our neighbors would like to see some peaceful relations between them and us, we can put together some arrangements that would enable both of us to live peacefully side by side. But so far, when you look at Hamas, at Abu Mazen, at others, Hezbollah, and I can go on, and you know the rest of the list, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, etc. They want one thing and one thing only, to transform Israel into a Muslim country. It is very clear that this is a Jewish country, the one and only compared with 22 Arab countries. Because of the Bible and because of the security, we must understand that Judea and Samaria, only 1/4 of the historical Palestine, should be kept in our hands forever. Does that mean that we have to give the Arabs in here their full rights? Absolutely, no question whatsoever. We have Arabs and Jews riding the buses. We have Arab and Jews working alongside. So no way at all that we're talking apartheid. Each and every country is based on a nation. In the United States of America, you have Greek American, Turkish American, Irish American. You keep your tradition, you keep your values, and you swear allegiance to the country, to the constitution, to the flag. If the Arabs would like to live under these conditions in Israel, not even legal aliens, full and equal citizens in this country. In the United States, time is money. In here, time is a curse. When you talk about solutions, we're talking 200 years, 500 years. And therefore, this is one of the major mistakes that are committed by foreign well-wishers, because they would like, and each and every new president would send an emissary to the Middle East to make peace. You cannot make peace. You can only bring together the parties to agree on some tactical moves. But if you raise your hopes too high, then even the tactical moves are impossible. It should be about economics. If you have a school, if you have garbage collection, running water, electricity, TV, cell phones, etc., then you have something to lose. And if you have something to lose, you have much more interest in peace.
We like to draw lines. Political, religious, ethnic, economic. It's human nature. And while borders and boundaries are necessary and important, they come with a side effect. They keep us apart. They become barriers, not just physically, but mentally. And sometimes mental barriers are even more challenging to overcome than the ones found on a map. Even still, there's a cross-section of Israeli society that is looking beyond the barriers to see the people on the other side.
אני הקמתי שמסיע חולים פלסטינים מהמעברים בתי חולים בישראל. ואילולי כן, הרבה מהם פשוט לא היו מגיעים. זה התחיל עוד פעם מצורך, מבקשה. ובמקרה מעבר לגדר. נעניתי לבקשה, מבחינתי זה היה בקשה של שכן. ומפה זה התחיל להתגלגל כמו כדור שלג. הסיפור של ההסעות, זאת אומרת, השם שלי התחיל לעבור בין חולים, וכשראיתי שאני לא עומד בעומס, אז התחלתי לבקש עזרה מהסביבה, בהתחלה ממעגלים קרובים, אחרי זה יותר רחוקים. על הנייר 600 מתנדבים, על הנייר. בגדול, אני חושב שהחתך הוא באופן כללי מעל גיל 50, בגדול. יש לנו כמה צעירים, אבל באמת הם במיעוט. אתה יכול למצוא חתך של החברה הישראלית, כשלצערי אין כמעט ערבים ישראלים, כמעט. יש בודדים. טוב, יש לי בעיה עם גבולות באופן כללי. אני הייתי שמח אם לא היה בינינו את החומה הזאת, זאת אומרת, או בוא נגיד את זה אחרת, הייתי שמח אם החומה הזאת הייתה נבנית בהסכמה כי אני יודע שבבניית החומה הזאת הרבה פעמים נעשה עוול גדול לצד השני. אני חושב שהדבר היחיד שפה ייתן לנו, לכולנו, ביטחון באזור הזה, זה לא החומות האלה שאנחנו רואים, אלא זה פשוט יחסי שכנות טובים. זה יהיה הערובה היחידה לביטחון בינינו. ואני חושב שהחומות הם איזשהו עניין טכני שאני מקווה שהוא יהיה איזשהו משהו בדרך באמת לשכנות הטובה שתוריד את החומות. אבל מבחינתי חומה זה המקום שבו אתה לא הגעת לצערי לשכנות טובה, והמניע העיקרי שלו זה פחד. ואנחנו, עוד פעם, אני חושב בעמותה או בכלל בהתנהלות שלנו, אנחנו מסרבים לשתף פעולה עם הפחד. זה היה ממש חודש אחרי הסכמי אוסלו. אני בספטמבר 93 הייתי באופוריה, כי חשבתי הולכים פה לפתור את הסכסוך. ולי זה התנפץ בפרצוף חודש אחרי זה, כשאחי אודי יצא למילואים ברצועת עזה, באחת הפעמים שהיה אמור לצאת הביתה לחופשה, הוא עלה על טרמפ, שהיו בו 3 אנשי חמאס מחופשים לדתיים, והוא נחטף ונרצח. אנשים שמסתכלים על זה קצת, בוא נגיד, מרימים גבה, כי הם לא מבינים למה אני, שרצחו את אחי, אני הולך לעזור להם. והמשפט המאוד שכיח זה, אני אהיה עירך קודמים, זה המשפט השכיח. מה אני רץ לעזור לפלסטינים כשיש חולים פה בישראל, שקודם כל זקוקים אולי לעזרה שלי? והתשובה שלי, אם אני מאוד שלם איתה גם, זה כשאני מסיע ילד פלסטיני, אני בזה גם עוזר אני עירי, אני משוכנע בזה לגמרי. היום במציאות המורכבת שלנו, אין לי הזדמנות להיפגש, זאת אומרת, זו הזדמנות למפגש ולהיכרות ולקירוב לבבות, והמפגש הזה הוא פעם, הוא מה שנקרא סודק איזה חומות של תודעתיות, שכל צד חושב על השני. יש פה עניין של מפגש אינטימי בין שני הצדדים, שאין לו שום תחליף. לנו, לישראלים, זה הזדמנות להראות להם, לצד השני, פנים אחרות של הישראלי. המעבר, התפקיד שלו זה לאפשר מעבר, זה התפקיד, זה לא מחסום. יש הבדל בין מחסום לבין מעבר. זה מקום אתה צריך לאפשר שם מעבר. בשבילי, מה שאני עושה זה קודם כל בשביל עצמי, החובה שלי לעצמי כבן אדם, קודם כל. ואחרי זה אני חושב על מה יהיה פה בעתיד, מה יהיה פה עם הילדים שלי, עם הנכדים שלי, וזה מה שמניע אותי. אז זה עושה להם, אז עוד פעם, אותה תחושה שבתוך כל האזור המסוכסך והמדמם שלנו, שתמיד התחושה היא שאין מה לעשות, לפעמים אתה פשוט מציל חיים, ואין הרגשה טובה יותר מאשר להציל חיים. זה פשוט, אין משהו שמתקרב לזה.
People like Yuval Roth are crossing borders in more ways than one. He represents many Israelis who are working to wash away the stains of this region's blood-soaked past. Although for many, the past is the most difficult barrier to surmount. The history of this region is riddled with war. Israel has claimed land and then given away land in pursuit of peace countless times. But time itself tells the story of a conflict that has not been fully resolved. Negotiations have failed, lives have been lost, and yet we hold on to the hope that even time can be redeemed.
Many people argue because now we are in the Memorial Day, the next day is the Independence. It's a very unique connection. And it's very tough. You are very sad and then you are very happy. The question about borders, for me, we have to try to erase all the borders inside Israel. Between Jewish religious, non-religious, and also between Jewish and Arabs. Israel is Jewish and democratic states, and it should be a Jewish and democratic state. But in the same time, have the same right to every citizen, doesn't matter what his religion and from where he came. My mother came here from Auschwitz. She taught us two main principles: to ensure that the Jewish people will have a strong state, to ensure that never again, but never make a differentiation among people, not according to their color, not according to their religion, not according to their race, never. From time to time there is conflict between having a Jewish and a strong state, and in the same time not make a differentiation. Maybe we have to make a comparison from time to time, but not to leave these two main principles. And this is what led me when I was combat officer for many years in the IDF, and the same in the Knesset or in my public life now. Of course, the same in my own family. I can be considered as an Orthodox. I'm religious, but I live in the real society. The only one way for us to exist is to be in the same time Jewish and democracy. From time to time, the democracy has to pay the bill in order to live with the Judaism, and from time to time, the Judaism has to pay the bill in order to live with the democracy. Everyone has the right to have his own opinion, even if it's against my opinion in 180. But in the same time, I don't think that every one of us has the right to have an opinion of racism. I don't mean that we have to erase personal identity, which I really believe it only strengthens us, that we have many identities. But in the same time, we should take the borders, because unfortunately, the borders, it's something which make challenges that we can give up because we have enough being here in the middle of the Middle East. There is no other people all over the world who has been ordered to remember. The Jewish people from when we exodus from Egypt and all the way till now. In order to preserve the independence, we have to remember why we have independence.
While there's much controversy and confusion surrounding the borders and boundaries of this small stretch of land, one thing is clear: God's love for Israel is unending. In Psalm 132, God calls Zion his resting place forever. Even still, the love of God knows no boundaries. It transcends all barriers and extends to all people. As followers of Christ, we are often called to cross borders to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Whether it's a physical country or reaching out over cultural fences, following Jesus' example just might lead us across the lines our societies love to draw. May we all live to bring the good news beyond borders, boundaries, and barriers. I leave you with a psalm penned by King David, a blessing over the city and indeed a prayer for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. May peace be within your walls and prosperity within your palaces. For the sake of my brothers and friends, I will now say, may peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. Hey, I'm Mati Shoshani, and thank you for watching the TBN Israel YouTube channel. We hope this video gave you greater understanding of Israel and her people. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. We'd love to hear from you, so be sure to share what you've learned and ask your questions in comments below. And invite your friends to join the conversation.